Hi, Tony DeWitt here, Missouri appellate attorney and a guy who likes to make the law make sense on YouTube. You're never too old to chase your dream, but you need to have a roadmap when you chase one. I'll have more on that in just a moment. One of the things that I wanted to do when I sat down to make this series of videos was help people who had children who might be considering becoming an attorney. And as a result, who might need some help or guidance going into high school or going into college. And as a result of that, I wanted to give those parents some basis for understanding what it is that is necessary for someone who wants to become a lawyer. But I also want to address my comments to people who may be thinking of going to law school and maybe they're not fresh out of college. Maybe college was 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago. Maybe you've been doing an actual job since then, but now you'd really like to think about going to law school. Well, I went to law school at the age of 35, and I graduated number 7 in my class. And as a result of that, I did pretty well for myself. There is an advantage almost to going to law school after you've worked in the real world because you understand things and what things are important and what things are not important. But if you have the benefit of being able to help structure your undergraduate education, it can have a tremendous impact on how well you do in law school. So that's one of the reasons why I put this together. And I want people to understand the process through which people can become an attorney. And I would tell you that the best advice that I got when I was thinking about becoming an attorney was from a lawyer who told me that if you want to become a lawyer, to do the things that lawyers do, represent clients, go to court, file briefs, do research and writing, then you'll be happy and you'll be fulfilled. But if you want to be a lawyer so you can have the things that lawyers have, fancy cars, nice homes, that sort of thing, you will probably be miserable. And I think to a large part, that person was correct. I have loved the things that I have done in the law. I like what I do. I love my job. I love the people I work with. And for that reason, I'm much better at what I do. If you love the job that you have, you never work a day in your life. And I think that's important for people to realize. I've had a lot of emails from people who ask about the process of becoming an attorney. I'm doing this series of videos. I'm going to do several videos about the process of becoming a lawyer. This video is the overview of the video series. These videos will have a distinctive thumbnail, very similar to the one that you saw on this video. And the videos will be as follows. Number one, the one that we're doing today is the requirements video. Then we're going to talk about what to take before going to law school. Then we're going to talk about taking the law school admission test, applying to law schools, the most important prep for a first-year law, summer legal employment, taking the bar exam after graduation, and finally, is it really worth all of that? So we're going to talk about requirements to be a lawyer today. And they're not all the same in every state, but most of these requirements that I'm going to talk about here are requirements in every state. There may be additional requirements, particularly in states like California, New York, Illinois. Those tend to have a lot of lawyers, and as a result, they tend to have a lot of restrictive rules. So here are the requirements to be a lawyer, at least from the 30,000-foot view. You have to be of good moral character. You have to have a bachelor's degree from an accredited college or university. You have to take the LSAT, the law school admission test, get admitted and graduate from an ABA-approved law school, and you have to pass the bar exam or exams. Some states have multiple exams. Let's talk for a moment about good moral character. For example, although it may not seem like a good idea, former felons, ex-felons, can apply to become lawyers. And some of them actually do become lawyers, and they become very good lawyers. The reason for that is because good moral character is evaluated as of on the date that you apply to take the bar exam. So let's look at a hypothetical here. If you were to commit a felony at the age of 18 and you wound up spending a year in prison or a year in the county jail as a result of that, would that forever preclude you from becoming an attorney? Probably not. If you did the time, you did it well, you didn't cause trouble, you got out, you set your life on the right course, and you proceeded along that right course for several years. You went to college, you applied to and were accepted into law school, and then you sat for the bar, or you tried to sit for the bar exam. There's a good chance that they would overlook a youthful felony that was nonviolent. And unless the only qualification for that is if the felony involved fraud or what it calls moral turpitude. So let's look at the requirements of good moral character. And here are some of them. No current or recent criminal behavior, meaning that if you've made mistakes in the past, many times those can be forgiven when you apply for the bar. No evidence of drug or alcohol dependency, no evidence of fiscal irresponsibility, no academic dishonesty in your record, and you are truthful in all respects on your background forms that are filed with the agency that does the background check, and no evidence of bad judgment. Why is that important? Well, here are a couple of reasons that all of those factors are important. As a lawyer, you are going to have an impact on the lives of the clients that come to you. And a lot of times those clients trust you not only with their cause of action, but also with the money that is recovered on their behalf. And if for some reason, while you are doing that, while you are representing them, you have financial trouble and you dip into their money, that's called attorney-client misappropriation. And not only can you be charged criminally for misappropriating funds, you can lose your law license pretty quickly for that. So I think it's important to understand that the good moral character requirement is there to protect the public. In fact, all of the licensing requirements in the bar are to protect the public. So college. Now, I'm going to do a separate video on how you get into college and what you should take in college. But basically, you need an undergraduate degree. It can be a bachelor's of science. It can be a bachelor's of arts. As long as you have a BS degree, or a BA or a BS degree, you are going to be admitted to a law school if everything else comes through. Degrees in history, philosophy, political science, those are all very good degrees. We'll talk about that in the next video on the college education. But anything that emphasizes the kinds of things that lawyers do is a good preparation for law school. In order to get into law school, you have to take the LSAT and do well enough on it to get admitted. So the LSAT score matrices change frequently. They've certainly changed since I went to law school or when I applied for law school. The LSAT is one of the few tests that colleges expect you to have taken at least one LSAT course to pass. Now, there are numerous courses out there, the Kaplan and Princeton reviews, just two of them, but there are lots of things to help you get ready to take that test. You have to have a good college GPA, a good LSAT score, and a good personal essay in order to get into most law schools. Now, there are multiple tiers of law schools. The tier 1 schools like the University of Michigan, Harvard, Stanford, Yale, that sort of thing, you're going to need extremely great undergraduate education, usually from a brand name college or university, and you're going to need to have an exceptionally high LSAT score and an exceptionally high GPA in order to get in. The quality of the education that you get in law school is directly related to the quality of the law school you go to. And you will not get into a high quality law school with a low LSAT score or a low college GPA. So those are two things to keep in mind. Then, again, to become a lawyer, you have to graduate from law school. And law school is a 3-year school. Now, there are some schools like California Western where you can push through and graduate in 2 years. But I don't recommend that. I think that it is much better to take some time off and take the summers off, particularly where you may be working on the law review or other things like that. There's a lot of things to keep you busy in law school. But one of the things that they will tell you, or should tell you, is that the first year they scare you to death, the second year they work you to death, and the third year they bore you to death. And that's pretty much a summary of how law school goes. But you best be prepared to work hard during law school, because the class rank, where you score and where you rank in this class, with a few exceptions, a few notable exceptions in law schools, where that class rank puts you is what kind of job you can expect to get. Now let's turn to summer internships and clerkships. It is quite possible to clerk for a trial judge over the summer. It's quite possible to clerk for an appellate judge over the summer. And it's possible to get a job over the summer working at a law office. All of those things are good things to do if you have the time and interest in doing them, because they will provide you with a better foundation for your legal work than merely going to school and coming out fresh and having no idea what goes on in a law office. And then once you graduated from law school, you have to take the bar exam. And the bar exam is no piece of cake. In most states, you have to take two things: the multi-state bar exam, and you have to take the written bar exam for the state where you are. And there are multiple subjects covered. Things like secured transactions, which covers the Uniform Commercial Code, estates and wills, which covers writing wills and handling the estates of dead people. There are always exams over civil procedure, and you're not necessarily going to be expected to know all of the case law in the state where you are, but at the very least, you should know what the general rules are with regard to things like torts and contracts and professional responsibility. So, in order to take the bar exam, it is a good idea to take something called a bar review course. One of them is called Barbary, and I took the Barbary course and did very, very well in that course, and I think it helped me do pretty well on the bar exam. I would recommend that anybody who goes through all the trouble of going to law school at least invest a few $100s more to take the bar review course. So that's the overview of these law school videos. I'm going to set up a playlist, and hopefully you'll find this valuable. If you would, please take a moment to like, share, subscribe, all the stuff we ask you to do. If you have any questions, stick them in the comments down below, and I'll see you on here next time.